we'd like to invite you as the music plays to just close your eyes, relax, rest in the presence and hold space.
Ganapataye Namo Namaha Gam Ganapataye Namo Namaha Jai Ganesha Gananata Dayaniti Sakala Vigna Karadura Hamari Jai Ganesha Gananata Dayaniti Sakala Vigna Karadura Hamari Jai Ganesha Gananata Dayaniti Sakala Vigna Karadura Hamari Jai Ganesha Gananata Dayaniti Sakala Vigna Karadura Hamari
Namaste.
Namaste.
Welcome to our weekly online satsang. Satsang being a Sanskrit word that basically just means spiritual community. Literally, it means community of truth. And it's wherever two or more people who are on the path of discovering the truth come together to share their journeys, to share their discoveries, to share their struggles, and to share their strengths with one another. We multiply each other's strength exponentially when we join together like this. Yep. There was a scripture, I think it was about King David, but it said, 1 can put 1,000 to flight, 2 can put 10,000, but a threefold cord is not easily broken, which is why, in cords and ropes, you've always got at least 3 strands woven together. So, here we are, weaving our lives and our journeys together. We're so glad that you're here. It's so important that the world awaken from its stupor, from its delusion of separate existence. Most people experience themselves as separate individuals, a mind and a body that has a beginning and an end, and it's terrifying, which is where the ego comes in. It's the mind's strategy to protect its own existence. But what happens when we awaken beyond the ego? Beyond thinking and feeling that we're just a body with a mind, we begin to awaken to the reality that we are spirit beings. Spirit has no beginning and has no end. It's not limited by distance or time. And we discover that in this universe there is one consciousness. Look it up in the dictionary. There's only a singular word, consciousness. There is no such English word as consciousnesses. You can't say there are 8 billion human consciousnesses on this planet. There's one consciousness, and it's expressing itself through the entire universe and through you and me in a very special way. When we begin to awaken to that truth, we look into each other's eyes and we see ourselves looking back at us through the eyes of the other. And you know what happens to fear? It's gone. I mean, I'm not going to take advantage of myself. Why would I do that? That's silly. And you're not going to take advantage of me because we are one. That's what the world needs to do, is awaken in the heart from competition, conflict, and war into cooperation, harmony, and peace. And that is not a political movement. That is not a philosophical movement. Religion has not helped much at all over countless millennia to come to this place I'm talking about. We've tried. I mean, those philosophies and those religions were sincere efforts. But none of it has worked because it's not a movement or a change of mind. It's a flowering of the heart. When your heart begins to awaken in oneness with the divine source, your perception of everything changes. The world's not full of struggle and enemies trying to take advantage of us and dominate us. We begin to see the world as a beautiful dance of peace and presence of the divine. So, just saying. To that end, we've dedicated the work of Flowering Heart Center, which is going on 20 years almost, 19 years. Yeah, wow. But we've been involved for a lot more of our lives, Suzanne and myself and many of you, in reaching toward peace, inner peace manifested outwardly in the world. To that end, we share something called the Flowering Heart Blessing, which the Divine showed us almost 10 years ago. Said, begin to share this one. The Flowering Heart Blessing is a direct transmission of divine presence, awakened awareness, and it catalyzes transformation of consciousness and the flowering of the heart within, in oneness with the divine, with yourself, with others, and with all that exists. It's pretty cool. And the divine said, don't charge for it, give it away. So that's what we do, we give it away. And if you'd like to be a blessing giver of the Flowering Heart blessing, the Divine showed us all you need to do is just receive it once and connect with that presence so you like it, and just invite the Divine to pour it through you, and there you are. You can give it in meditation or prayer at a distance just by holding someone or someones in your heart with compassion and inviting the Divine to flow through you, to intervene in their lives, to cause awakening and transformation in their hearts and lives. So we invite you, since you're here tonight and you are already soaking in this presence and blessing, if you connect with that, then just invite the Divine to pour it through you to all the people who join us tonight and to anyone who will be viewing this video in the future. We have usually a few hundred people who watch these videos between 1 week and the next, who can't be with us necessarily live at this time, which is nicer, I think. But again, it's a spiritual transmission and presence, and there is no distance in space or time. It's all here and now. If you watch this, if you're watching this 10 years after we made it, just open up and feel the presence, and you'll see what we're talking about. So, if you'd like to know more about it, visit our website, floweringheart.org. And on the homepage and several other places, but prominently on the homepage and the menu of buttons on the left side is initiation or
activation.
Activate. Oh, now I need to look. But anyway, right there on the homepage is an invitation to play a video that's 36 minutes long that tells a little bit more about the blessing and leads you or whoever watches it in a guided meditation of initiation and activation. And you don't really need that, just you're here tonight. But sometimes we need a little bit more. We want some more understanding. We want a little guided meditation with bells and whistles, you know. That one will do it. Just invite one friend or two friends over, hit play or download it to your computer, and 36 minutes later, you'll have a blessing group. And we encourage you, if you don't have one to go to, create one yourself. And that's what we made the video for, actually. So you don't really have to explain it. We explain it for you in 36 minutes. Before I forget, if you're here, that's great. Give us a like or a love if you're on Facebook Live or whatever other emoji you connect with. We go in and look after the webcasts and see who dropped in and gave us a like or a love, and we send you little special hugs and blessings and prayers. So we like to know you're here. And I look throughout the week too to see who's tuning in between tonight and next Monday. So do that. If you're on Vimeo, just click on the chat and just say your name and hi, I'm here, and enter that in the chat because we look there as well. The book club. We started a new book this last Sunday, which was yesterday, and we got all of 10 pages into it, so it is way not too late to join us. And the book is Peace Pilgrim, Her Life and Work in Her Own Words. This is a lady who in 1953 renounced her name and all of her possessions, and she began to walk on foot, crisscrossing North America on a pilgrimage of peace. She touched thousands of lives and hearts and was really quite well known in her day. Some of you may be aware of her. She said, I will keep vigil unless I'm given a place to sleep or I find a place in a field, or somewhere under a tree. I will fast until someone offers me food. And she never starved and never went without a place to sleep, I don't think, for more than a night maybe. An amazing lady. And the book is life-changing. I've read it a couple times, and this will be my third time. And I'm already being moved. I'm looking at some really interesting shifts in my life that happened between the 1960s and the year 2000, and I'm starting to get some insight. Anyway, the book's free. Go to peacepilgrim.com, give them your address, and they'll send it to you free of charge. They'll pay shipping. We encourage you to give them a free will love offering to help support their work. Since 1981, the time of Peace Pilgrim's passing, this has been translated into 19 languages, and they've been sending it free to people all over the world. So I think they deserve a little, a little support. You can also download it digitally, a PDF file or an audio file. So you don't even need to wait for it to get to you to catch up 10 pages. Next week, that was the introduction in chapter 1. Next week, we're diving into chapter 2, which is about 20 pages long. Still, it's easy reading. She didn't write a book. It was her friends who gathered letters and notes she'd written over the years, and they compiled it and put it together. And it's just amazing. This lady, living on the road for 28 years, as a pilgrim, walking on foot. She was gray-haired when she started in 1953. She said, I was out of youthful vigor when I started this pilgrimage. And you know what? My energy has just grown and grown and grown. She said, as a matter of fact, I haven't had a cold or a headache or any kind of sickness in over 40 years. I saw in one of the last recordings that was made of her. Wow.
Yeah.
And you can actually watch a few clips of her on YouTube. Highly recommend it. There's one that's under 3 minutes long where she talks about, people kept saying God this and God that, and I just, I couldn't find this God thing looking on the outside. One night I just went to bed and held this question in my heart. What is God? And she woke up in the morning and it just began to unfold inside of her. I really believe she was a living saint, like a Saint Francis of modern times. And to see her on video talking, she's just down to earth and normal, sort of.
So filled with joy.
And yeah. So 2 o'clock Eastern time on Sundays, we spend about an hour discussing the book we're reading, which is now Peace Pilgrim. And then about 3, we have a centering group. Centering prayer is actually a contemplative meditation practice that's interfaith. It came from, derived from the teachings of the early desert monks of the Middle East, but it's practiced today by Christians, Muslims, Jews. I know because I've been guiding people in all those religions who are practicing this. Hindus, Buddhists, Taoists, pagans, and more if I left anything out. So if you're looking for a meditation practice, and there are lots of them out there, but that focuses very, very simply on the inner divine, just inviting the presence and the action of the divine within you and letting go. Centering is a wonderful practice to explore. And we do that for a half an hour at about 3. I say about because we start at 2, but the discussions sometimes may not last quite till 3, but we think they probably will. Yeah. Sometimes they last 5 minutes or so. But anyway, come check us out. It's not too late. If you go to our website, one of the buttons at the top on the left says Book Club Centering Group. If you click there, it will give you the Zoom link. You can join us right here at Flowering Heart Center in Clearwater if you're close, or you can join us on Zoom. We just love to have you join us wherever you are.
And when you decide you'd like to pick up this book and join us on Sunday, you can also go to that link and watch the first Zoom that we had yesterday to get caught up, and you can also get a better feel for what the book club is about. And it's very beautiful how we share personal stories and things that have meaning from passages that we've read, and we all come together, and the sharing and the input that people have really makes it a deep, rich experience.
I haven't put it up yet, but I'm going to put up a Dropbox link to the recording of yesterday. So if you're interested, you could watch the first session and see what it's all about. Okay. So what we like to do next is open it.
Thank you.
Oh. Well, as many of you, some of you certainly know, last week our professional video camera died. If you were on the live stream, it kept cutting off and restarting and cutting off and restarting about 6 times. I mean, the camera totally shut off. The only reason you could still hear us is we have the sound going a different way through our mixer. But we checked it out. The zoom button wouldn't work. And without explaining it to you, I contacted Canon to set up sending it in to be repaired. Mm-hmm. And they said, sorry, we don't repair these cameras anymore. I was like, what? But we'll be glad to give you a discount on an upgrade, you know. Anyway, so we started, last Tuesday night in the wee hours of the morning, a fundraiser saying, if you'd like, please, we'd like, as many of you know, this online presence, our live streaming, the Zoom stuff that we do, the live streams on Monday nights. Sometimes we put up whole courses, and it's a big part of our ministry and presence in the world. So we were kind of thrown. In less than a week, you guys
pulled it off.
And at the 11th hour, we were able to replace that camera, and we're using it tonight, and it's a better camera.
Yeah.
Higher resolution, yay.
All of you that donated, thank you very much. And thank you for the thoughts and the prayers. And we were just so very, very moved and felt so blessed to be supported by the community to continue this work.
Because it's for you that we do it.
Right.
And so it's just so moving to see that it meant so much to so many people that they stepped up right away. We needed it to happen right away. We really set our faith that we would have the new camera by tonight.
Yeah.
And we did.
Yeah.
So here we are. And yeah. Wow.
Thank you.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
I would call that a miracle. Plus, it's so beautiful when we can all work together to make something happen, you know. That's a big part of this book, too, is how to be of service, like walking in service and being of service. And it's important that, you know, to the best of our abilities, we show up each day in whatever way we can serve, whether it's just a smile or a donation or helping somebody move or go across the street. You know, it's any little ways of being of service really adds a lot of richness to our lives and our hearts and our souls.
And we're praying that those who contributed, that what their contribution is, that it will be multiplied back to you many times over in whatever area of your life you have need. So there's that. You have our deep gratitude, but also our prayers and our blessings.
And it was so great that it came in so quickly too, because there was just, I mean, it was just all faith, and then it just all manifested, and it's just another testimony to
what we can do when we work together.
Yeah.
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 I guess it is a miracle when humans work together. So
good job, Flowery Heart fam.
We like to open it to questions and answers about the spiritual journey. So ask inside if there's a question about something you'd like some more insight, some more clarity concerning the spiritual journey. Even better, your personal journey. It will help everyone, and it will move the divine to pour inspiration through me and Suzanne to help us all. And so while you're asking on the inside about that, I like to share quotes from a website called inspiringquotes.com, a group of authors who write these neat little articles and then put together quotes from people throughout time that have addressed these subjects, and it can be very illuminating. Tonight, the article is by April Davila. April Davila is a lover of words. Her debut novel, I love this, was 142 ostriches. And it was released in 2020, the year of the ostrich. They should call 2020 the year of the ostrich, when we all buried our heads in the sand. Not all of us, but most. So this little article is Buddhist wisdom from Pema Chodron. Buddhist nun and author Pema Chodron is renowned for her teachings on what she calls the wisdom of no escape, which emphasizes the importance of facing our fears instead of avoiding them, and embracing life for what it is, ups and downs alike. Throughout her life, Chodron has been a dedicated practitioner and teacher of Buddhism, whose words have inspired and guided people around the world. Born in New York City in 1936, she traveled in 1974 to the Karma Dzong Meditation Center in Colorado, where she learned from Chogyam Trungpa Rinpoche, the founder of the Shambhala Buddhist community in North America. She became one of Trungpa Rinpoche's closest disciples and was one of the first Westerners to receive full monastic ordination in the Tibetan Buddhist tradition. In the years since, Chodron has been a key figure in bringing Buddhism to the West and has played an important role in the growth of the Shambhala community in North America. She's trained many Western Buddhist teachers and has served as a mentor to countless students. Her message of fearlessness, compassion, and wisdom is a beacon of hope and a reminder of the power of the human spirit to overcome adversity and find peace and happiness in the midst of life's changes. Here we're sharing just a few of the quotes that have earned Chodron a reputation for wisdom and insight. And if I could just insert right here, just forget she's a Buddhist nun and listen to what she says. I mean, I don't care where you're coming from, just listen to this. Here we go. One can appreciate and celebrate each moment. There's nothing more sacred. There's nothing more vast or absolute. In fact, there's nothing more. The happiness we seek is already here, and it will be found through relaxation and letting go rather than through struggle. Fear is a natural reaction to moving closer to the truth. The truth is that things don't really get solved. They come together and they fall apart. Then they come together again and fall apart again. It's just like that. The healing comes from letting there be room for all of this to happen. Room for grief, for relief, for misery, for joy. Whether we experience what happens to us as an obstacle and enemy, or as a teacher and friend, depends entirely on our perception of reality. It depends on our relationship with ourselves. We think that brave people have no fear. The truth is that they are intimate with fear. Clarity and decisiveness come from the willingness to slow down, to listen, and look at what's happening. When we're willing to stay even a moment with uncomfortable energy, we gradually learn not to fear it. No one ever tells us to stop running away from fear. We're very rarely told to move closer, to just be there. The advice we usually get is to sweeten it up, smooth it over, take a pill, distract ourselves, but by all means make it go away. In practicing meditation, we're not trying to live up to some kind of ideal. Quite the opposite. We're just being with our experience, whatever it is. When things are shaky and nothing is working, we might realize that we're on the verge of something. Nothing ever goes away until it has taught us what we need to know. We don't sit in meditation to become good meditators. We sit in meditation so that we'll become more awake in our lives. When we resist change, it's called suffering. But when we can completely let go and not struggle against it, when we can embrace the groundlessness of our situation and relax into its dynamic quality, that's called enlightenment. Sometimes when things fall apart, well, that's the big opportunity to change. Isn't she great?
She is great. It's interesting, a lot of these concepts have been coming up in my conversations with people the last couple of weeks. You know, maybe it's partly because it's, you know, coming on spring and the energy is changing, it's getting light, more minutes of the day. But I've heard a lot of people say, you know, I'm just really ready for a change. We have some friends that are completely remodeling their house and upgrading their furniture that they haven't done in like 30 years. And she brought me a book with some recipes in it, and she's thinking about changing their diet. And I've talked to somebody else that wants to make some of those changes too. And it's like we're going through a process of deep cleaning and getting rid of things that we don't need anymore, and sharing with others that will get joy out of it. So it's a beautiful time of year to be meditating on that. And, you know, when things fall apart, it creates an opening for something different. And we can always take that opportunity to reinvent ourselves and see things in a different way, get out of our ruts and do something that we normally wouldn't do.
Stacy writes, I have a hard time letting go of injustices and unkindnesses from the past via that unfortunate human habit of replaying the offenses on a loop in my mind. Do you have spiritual techniques that can assist with this? Thank you. Absolutely. Number one, in a word, stop. You see, when the mind is running in a loop and you see it, well, one of our friends who's a spiritual teacher says to see is to be free. Well, not quite, but it gives the opportunity. Once you see your mind's running in a loop, you can stop and shift your attention to something else. That's how mantra's used. That's how meditation on the divine name works. That's how centering prayer works. There's a sacred symbol, and it's not a special word of power, a name of power. It could be peace, it could be let go. It's just one or two syllables that symbolize your intention to consent to the presence and action of God within you. To let go of whatever it is you're involved in, to release that, and just turn to this symbol as the expression of your intention to let go and to consent to the presence and action of God. And these things really work. I remember we have a friend that comes to our satsangs every so often, Mike, and he said, I've found over the years that to stop the internal dialogue, which is the mind looping endlessly, I need a distraction. Now, Pema Chodron said, they tell us to sweeten it up, take a pill, distract yourself. That's not the kind of distraction we mean. We mean to release the monkey mind and turn to the present moment, which is where Rob Reister his answer was simple: be here now. ... That's right, but not always so easy to do. Interestingly, Ram Dass, who was a contemporary of mine and Rob's and others of us older timers, he was Richard Alpert, a Ph.D. psychologist who worked with Timothy Leary and John Lilly and others back in the day at Harvard and studying LSD, doing research in altered states of consciousness. Eventually he went to India and he found a guru, Neem Karoli Baba. His picture's behind me, but you can't see it right now. And Neem Karoli, he was the guru of so many, including, I think, Bill Gates. With so many people, it would really surprise you, but Krishna Das and other of the players and kirtan artists were under Neem Karoli Baba's guidance. And he told Ram Dass in India one day, he said, "Hey, I hear you've got these pills you've been passing around. Give them to me." Well, Ram Dass must have his heart must have stopped for a minute when the guru asked for the bottle full of clinical LSD, which he had a government permit for, but not in India. And so Neem Karoli Baba took the bottle, which had 15 strong doses of LSD, and went, "Look." And now they were really scared because their guru was going to OD on. Anyway, they sat there, an hour goes by, 2 hours go by. He says, "What are you waiting for? Nothing's going to happen. Nothing is already happening and nothing will keep happening. Just be here now." He was already in the state of being one with the present moment, completely through and through, which changed the picture for all those guys. And that's always moved me. But we must let go of injustices and unkindness when we dwell on them and play them over, Stacy. It re-energizes the story.
Conflict. Yeah.
It revives the charge. I mean, you may have done all kinds of inner work to release the charge. But if you just sit playing it over and over again, you can revive the charge. Don't do that. It becomes when you stop resisting, what Pema Chodron said, no escape. You stop resisting, feeling it. Then the charge, the emotional charge, discharges. And you're free. Not from the memory, see, nothing will go away till we learn from it. And if we just forget what we've been through, we're not going to learn. But you'll have the memory of this really crappy thing that happened, but there's no charge attached to it. And of course, it was Nelson Mandela, I think, who said that if you hold on to those charges, it's like swallowing poison and expecting the other person to die. Holding on to unforgiveness, holding on to offenses, holding on to the charges that are created in us by injustice and unkindness in the past harms us spiritually. So, just saying.
I'd like to reference this book again because it was a game changer for me 5 years ago, even if you don't participate in the book club. Just reading it, she's got such clarity and such simple ways. If you want friends, you need to be friendly. You know, if you want peace, you need to be peaceful. I mean, just these really simple ways of putting things. But when somebody is doing an injustice to her or is being hurtful, she has the utmost compassion because she is actually she was living from her heart and living in union with the divine presence. And so when she would see people acting out or being angry or violent, she just had so much like sadness and compassion for them because she knew how deeply they must be hurting to hurt another human being. And we can also have that compassion for ourselves, you know, when we're being judgmental or having injustices, coming back up. We, like Michael said, it's like taking poison and waiting for the other to die. We're doing harm to ourselves because we're still drawing that energy into us, and we're not coming from love and compassion. And I know that there are injustices that are really hard to love through unconditionally, but we need to get to that place, not only for the greater good, but especially for ourselves.
Christ said to bless them that hurt you and harm you. Bless them. And you can do that. Muhammad Ibrahim says, please send blessings for my spiritual awakening and liberation. Absolutely, my friend, we will do that. And we are doing it right now. And we'll hold that intention in just a few minutes as well. And Rob writes, my struggle is being here now. I get that. I get that because you may be carrying so much pain in the here and now and struggle with the reality of the here and now, because the world is all around us, is a real, I can't use that word, it's a show. And so what Pema Chodron said, when we struggle with what is, that's called suffering. When we stop struggling and we just accept what is in the present moment. I mean, that doesn't mean acquiesce. That doesn't mean stop working for change, but in the here and now, it is what it is. Accept it and stop resisting it. All psychological pain is nothing but resistance in the present moment to something you don't want to feel. There's all kinds of stuff I don't want to feel. But I've discovered that anything I resist will persist. It's like an unpopped boil in the unconscious. And it keeps pushing up to the surface, and life keeps sending you these compassionate triggers to pop that boil and bring it up. The thing is, we oh, that's ugly, we press it down again. We don't want to feel it. And as long as we resist, it will persist, and life will keep faithfully creating triggers until finally we just let it be. So, being here now, it's not just being located in the here and now, it's be, not struggle, just be. When we stop struggling with the feelings of stuff that we're carrying, we're free. And Pema said, that's called enlightenment. Wayne Dyer said, if I had to define enlightenment, in just a few words, it's the quiet acceptance of what is. In no way do I accept the world staying the way that it is. And so we work for change in the future. But we need to work from a place of sanity in the present moment. And the only way to be sane in the present moment is to accept what is. And feel it. Yeah. But without resistance. And that's where meditation comes in. That's where grace and prayer comes in. That's where the divine presence can help us to just let go and let it discharge. Don't worry, you won't lose the lousy memory. It'll just stop tormenting you. And you won't lose the compassionate concern for what's going on in the world today. But you'll lose that righteous indignation and all the negative energy that keeps us from really being the change and influencing contagiously the people around us. With our inner peace is contagious, much more than any conflict or struggle we can offer. And that inner peace comes through acceptance with compassion. In no way acquiescence, certainly not. It's not okay if the world stays the way it is for another second. It's got to keep, but it is continuing to grow and to change. We need to come from a place of sanity, and that place of sanity in the present moment is accepting what is and making our peace with it. Which I'm not trying to make that sound easy or simple.
No. No, but what I've found helpful is that, if I hear some information, if I can stay out of the mind and go into the heart, there's usually a bigger picture, a bigger reason for how things are unfolding the way that they are. And I found that in my life, the less that I complain, the less that I criticize, the less that I get frustrated or get upset when something's not going right. And, it's the old adage, when life hands you lemons, make lemonade. And just, keep a positive attitude. The mind may kick in and go, oh, this is just really messed up. But then my heart says, we will get through this. This is a phase. This is where that person needs to still grow. How can I be of service and support in that? Yeah. So there's a learning curve. You've got to keep going back to your heart and keep going back and surrendering to the divine presence and asking for grace, asking for help with whatever we're struggling with. But the more that we do that, the more it becomes a practice. And then we've got some really great lemonade on those hot days.
So Stacy writes more. She says, I'm going to put a stop sign in my photos for reference. It is harmful to keep replaying. Thank you.
I like that idea.
There is such a difference between having a memory and having it torment me.
Yes.
That's right. You got to watch the stop sign, because when we want to stop the internal dialogue or a loop in the mind, our will can become involved and go, stop, which can be repressing that thought, that feeling. So Thomas Keating, very wise spiritual teacher, in talking about having success and letting go, said, your success will be dependent on how gently you release the thought, the feeling, the image, the memory, and how very, very gently you return to your focus, whether it's a sacred word or the light of God or some divine name or just the presence. We can't use a stop sign like a baseball bat. There you are again. We're going to knock you out of the park this time. It doesn't work. Ever so gently. Notice what it is, sure. And right away, ever so gently, release it and return to your intention to consent to the presence and action of God within you. And it's how gentle it is, our letting go and returning, will determine how well it works.
I do like the idea of the stop sign, though, just metaphorically, sure. Because I've counseled a lot of people, and sometimes they just get caught in a loop and they go on and on and on about the same thing, and we'll try different approaches, or we'll, say, let's look at it from another perspective, but it just keeps going on and on in that hurt. And sometimes I've had to say, stop. You're looping. This isn't productive. You're wallowing in this story, and you're just, we've talked for 4 hours now, and it's not making any shifts, anything different. So I like that concept, Stacy. Sometimes we need to tell our minds to stop.
Well, to rewind back to the beginning of this conversation, I said, yes, there is something you can do in a word, stop. So I agree. The first thought, when you notice that you're looping, should be stop. But that can be very, very gentle. Like Tai Chi. Tai Chi, the Tai Chi master cannot be beat not because he's going and blocking it, it's because he very gently flows around it. That works, but not force. Force doesn't work so well. Gentleness and flow is power. So, just saying. It's a learning curve, like Suzanne said.
Yeah.
So, it's time to close your eyes if they're still open. And invite the divine presence to flood your heart. At the center, at the very center of your spiritual heart, of your being, dwells the fullness of the divine presence. I don't know how to explain it, because the fullness of the divine lives in me too, and in Suzanne and all of us. Rumi said, you're not just a drop of the ocean, you're the whole ocean in a drop. This divine presence is all powerful, all wise, all knowing, and pure unconditional love. That's where religion's done a great disservice for many of us, making us feel there's some distance between us and God we need to bridge by being good enough. That's ridiculous. In the presence we live and move and have our being. We couldn't exist outside of the presence. We're made of the presence. We're floating in the presence. And this presence loves you unconditionally. That means unconditionally. There are no strings attached. Like a loving parent, the divine loves you no matter what you've done or what you ever do. It just wants to take you in its arms and dissolve your pain and your suffering and awaken your heart to oneness with the divine, with yourself, with others, and with all that exists. So receive the outpouring of divine grace, flooding you from the center of your being, pouring down upon you from above, flooding you from all directions. It's pure love. And you don't need to beg. The divine is offering it to you right now. So just drink it in. Receive the light of life. Be filled with the light of awakening and transformation. It shines out of your heart into your soul, the next layer, your thoughts, your feelings, your emotions, your programming, and it dissolves the wrong thoughts, the negative emotions, the programs, and replaces all of that with divinely inspired ideas and feelings and plans. Receive it. Receive it in your body. It shines through every layer of your being, your heart, your soul, into your body. It yearns to free you from pain, which is all blocked life, blocked energy. Just keep receiving the flowering heart blessing as it pours out to you, and let it heal your body and heal your relationships, heal your life in the world, and cause you to begin to shine with the most contagious thing anyone could possibly have: love and peace. Just keep receiving and drinking it in. Imagine that we're sitting in a circle together with our eyes closed, all of us together in one place. And lift up your hands with your palms open and invite the Divine Presence to pour grace through you to all the others in the circle, knowing that the blessing is flowing back to you through them. We hold a strong intention for our friend Muhammad Ibrahim. For his spiritual awakening and liberation. It's a gift, my friend. Receive. As we all hold our intentions for you. Now you can just relax your hands in your lap somewhere with your palms open and turned upward. And when you're ready, open your eyes and begin to make direct eye contact with Suzanne and or me as the light meditation begins. In this meditation, Suzanne and I are flooded with oceans of divine grace and light and love. And it pours through every part of our being to you, especially through our eyes, the windows of the soul. All you need to do is keep looking, gazing at least one of our eyes, and just receive. You may not see it, but it's shining out through our eyes, in through your eyes, into your spiritual heart, causing the light of awakening, the fires of divine love to burn brighter and brighter within you, transforming you in moments. Just receive. with us for a few more minutes as the grace settles within. Now keep meditating as long as you like. You could also find a place to lie down nearby in Shavasana. That's the simplest yoga pose. You just lie on your back comfortably with your eyes closed, your arms loosely at your sides with your palms open, turned upward, and just let yourself dissolve with gratitude in the presence. We love you so much.
Much love, light, and blessings.
Until we meet again, know that the divine in us beholds the divine within you, and we bow to you.
Namaste.
Namaste.